Friends are some of the most important aspects of your childhood. They can have a positive influence on your life and are usually there to support you and encourage you to be more social. Since friends interact almost on a day to day basis, it's often that you see traits of friends rub off on each other. This can have a positive effect, as you can be more like your friends. However, this can also have a negative effect. This is where peer pressure comes in. The definition of peer pressure is influence from members of one's peer group. This can apply to fellow classmates, colleagues, or workmates. Typically, when you encounter peer pressure, you want to be more like your friends, as stated earlier. In a way, it's almost like wanting to fit in. Let's say that your group of friends is talking about a certain book or movie that they all enjoy. They tell you things like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever," or "Oh, I don't understand how anyone would hate this." You don't feel the same way as your friends, but you roll with it anyway, just to fit in. Here's another example of peer pressure. Let's say your friend or friends forget to do their homework and they ask to copy yours. You might feel like it's cheating for them since you did all the hard work, but you let them copy anyway because you don't want to let your friends down. So, you're probably thinking, how do I avoid peer pressure? As Nancy Reagan said in her campaign against drug use, just say no. Realize that sometimes the decision you make might not affect you then in the moment, but might affect you later in the future. If the outcome looks bad, then it might be best to say no to your friends. There's a good chance that your friends will respect the decision you make, or at least ignore it later if it was minor. However, if the situation is much worse and might result in something illegal, not only should you say no, but you shouldn't associate with those people anymore because they might tempt you to do those illegal things, and overall, they're just a bad influence. So, how does peer pressure work? Well, teens have a very different decision making process than adults. Lawrence Steinberg, a researcher at Temple University, says that teens are drawn to immediate rewards of a potential choice and are less attentive to the possible risks. Teens are in their development stage between childhood and adulthood, and this includes the development of their decision making skills. Furthermore, Dr. B. J. Casey from the Weill Medical College of Cornell University says that teens are very quick and accurate in making judgments and decisions on their own, and in situations where they have time to think. However, when they have to make decisions in the heat of the moment or in social situations, their decisions are often influenced by external factors like peers. Again, teens are still honing their decision making skills, so they can easily be influenced by outside sources, such as their peers. One example of bad peer pressure is if your friends decide to goof off instead of studying for an upcoming test. You want to study for the test so you can do well, but you don't want to be judged by your friends. So instead, you don't study and you instead decide to goof off with your friends. Even though you know you should have studied, you hang out with your friends because you feel like you might get left out. A worst case scenario example of peer pressure is if your friend or friends start to do drugs, alcohol, or something illegal. Even though you don't want to be involved because you know it's illegal, your friends might pressure you into doing what they're doing. Not only is this bad because it's illegal, but it can also be a gateway for you to drugs or alcohol, and you run the risk of being addicted. Making a decision on the spot is already hard enough. You have to decide whether or not the decision you're making will affect you in the long run. if it's really worth it to be like your friends, or imagine the regret for saying your answer. But what makes peer pressure really hard to deal with is sometimes your friends themselves. Peer pressure is about you wanting to be like your friends, but it's even worse when your friends want you to be like them. They can add a lot of pressure during your decision making, like saying that you'll miss out and such. They might also say that they won't want to be your friend anymore, or something even worse. Speaking of peer pressure and being a gateway to drugs and alcohol, here's some statistics. According to the Canadian Lung Association's My Friends Smoke and I Thought It Was Cool are two of the main reasons that between the ages of 12 and 17 start smoking. The Canadian Lung Association also found that 70% of teens who smoke have friends who smoke or started smoking because of peer pressure. Monitoring for the Future survey found that approximately 30% of 8th graders that they interviewed have used illicit drugs. The survey